Hello again, dear friend. Come sit with me a while. Let's take a slow breath together. Can you hear the breeze through the porch screen? The soft clink of wind chimes in the distance. There's a pitcher of tea on the table and sunlight dancing across the garden. This right here, right now, is the joy of a quiet afternoon. And today, I have something special to share. You know, I've come to believe that some of the most beautiful things in our gardens and in our lives don't come from catalogs or fancy home stores. They come from the overlooked, the forgotten, the humble pieces of junk we once thought had no use. An old teapot, a bent spoon, even a lonely dresser missing its drawers, all waiting for a second chance. And there's something magical about walking through a place like Hobby Lobby or the local craft store. You don't need a big budget or a long list. Just a little imagination and maybe a few clearance aisle treasures. Combine that with what you already have, and suddenly what was once trash becomes a treasure of your own making. In this video, we're going to explore 30 ideas that feel just like that. Soft, serene, full of rustic elegance. You'll see how something as simple as a glass bottle or a wooden crate can bring charm and grace to a garden corner. These projects are perfect for porches, balconies, or backyards. No heavy lifting, no big spending, and certainly no stress. This isn't about perfection, dear friend. It's about creating beauty with what we've got. It's about enjoying the process. And above all, it's about the quiet joy of knowing your hands can still shape something lovely. So, pour another glass of tea if you'd like. Let's begin this gentle journey. One thrifty, thoughtful, soul-soothing garden idea at a time. Do you remember those old watering cans, the metal ones with curved handles and a bit of rust on the spout? Maybe there's one tucked in the back of your shed, or perhaps you've passed one in a thrift store window and paused just for a moment to remember the days you used to carry it down garden rows. Well, what if I told you that same humble watering can could become the soul of your patio, not for watering, but for whispering? Here's how it begins. Start with a metal watering can. Ideally one with some character, a worn finish, a copper tone, or a vintage shape. Inside, you'll nestle something unexpected, a recycled laundry detergent bottle. Yes, really. Cut to fit, it hides perfectly inside, acting as a secret reservoir for the water. You'll also need a small water pump, the kind you can find online or in garden sections. They're lightweight and easy to set up. Let the tube run up to the spout so it seems like water is gently pouring from the can itself. Now, for the elegance, a simple decorative faucet handle, perhaps from Hobby Lobby, adds that old-world charm. It doesn't have to function, just sit gracefully atop the can, completing the illusion. You can perch the can on a raised stone, tuck it among planters, or even place it on a pedestal if you want to give it a true centerpiece feel. And the best part, the soft trickle of water that flows from it. Peaceful, calming, and soothing on warm days or quiet evenings. You don't need a fancy fountain from a garden magazine. You've just made something better, something personal. The sound of the water becomes a lullaby for the garden. A gentle reminder that beauty often comes from mixing the practical with the poetic. And isn't that a little like us too, worn with time maybe, but still full of grace, still able to hold and pour out peace even from what others might have thrown away. Still valuable, still capable, still beautiful. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the sound of water trickling down stone. Soft, steady, like a memory returning home. Now open your eyes and imagine that gentle cascade flowing from a tower of simple terracotta pots, each one a little different in size, each one catching the light just so. This isn't something bought from a catalog. This is something you made with your own two hands using everyday items and just a touch of magic. Start with 3 or 4 terracotta pots, the kind you can often find at Hobby Lobby, or even at a garage sale for next to nothing. Choose varying sizes to create a tiered look. At the base of your stack, you'll hide a humble plastic bucket. It doesn't need to be pretty, it just needs to hold water and house a small submersible fountain pump. These are easy to find and very lightweight. If you prefer not to deal with electricity, a small solar pump can do the trick. Place the largest pot upside down inside the bucket to give the whole tower stability. Then begin stacking the pots on top, tilting each one slightly to allow the water to spill naturally from one to the next. It creates a visual rhythm, a dance between gravity and grace. Fill in the spaces between with smooth river stones, glass pebbles, or artificial succulents for a lush look without the upkeep. You'll be amazed at how elegant it all feels, especially when nestled into a sunny corner of your deck or balcony. The terracotta warms under the afternoon sun, the water glistens in motion, and suddenly your small space feels like a villa garden. There's something timeless about terracotta, strong but earthy, simple but noble. And when it's shaped by your own hands into something lovely, it becomes more than decor. It becomes a story, one that whispers, "I still have life in me." And maybe that's what this whole journey is really about, giving things, and perhaps ourselves, another chance to bloom. Do you remember how the light used to pour through stained glass windows, casting colors on the floor like scattered jewels? Maybe in an old church or in your grandmother's kitchen window. That same kind of wonder can live in your garden now through something as simple and soulful as a glass bottle tree. Start by gathering glass bottles in rich jewel tones, deep cobalt blue, emerald green amber, or even ruby red. These are easier to find than you might think. Save your own, ask neighbors, or pick up a few striking ones at a thrift store or Hobby Lobby. The goal isn't perfection, in fact, a little variety adds even more charm. Next, you'll need a base, something strong and steady. A piece of metal rebar works wonderfully. You can hammer it into the ground or place it inside a sturdy planter filled with concrete or stones for extra stability. Then comes the fun part, wiring the bottles onto the rebar. Use floral wire or a similar lightweight but strong material to attach each bottle securely. Angle them slightly, creating the branches of your bottle tree. When the sunlight strikes just right, the whole piece shimmers like a garden chandelier. The colors dance, reflect, and change throughout the day, giving your space a sense of movement and life. And in the quiet hours when the breeze is gentle and the sun is low, it almost hums with serenity. This isn't just a sculpture. It's a celebration of light, of transformation, of bringing discarded things into the realm of beauty. Some might see an empty bottle as trash, but in your garden under your care, it becomes art. It becomes proof that elegance can be built from the simplest things with no need for wealth, only imagination. And maybe it reminds you, as it does me, that our lives still catch the light. That no matter our age or stage, we can still create something lovely, something others stop to admire, something that says, there is still color in me. Have you ever taken a twilight walk through your garden just as the last light is fading? That hush that falls over everything, the flowers beginning to close the sky, turning lavender. It's a sacred time. And in that soft hour, a gentle glow can turn the ordinary into something magical. That's what this next idea is all about. It begins with a simple fallen branch. Nothing fancy, just something you might find after a windy day or resting beneath a tree. Pick one with character, maybe a twist in its shape, a few small forks in the wood, something that speaks of time. Let it dry, then give it a gentle sanding to smooth any rough edges. You can leave it natural or brush on a whisper of white paint for a weathered driftwood look. Now take a handful of clear glass bottles. Wine bottles, soda bottles, any shape will do. Use Hobby Lobby's frosted glass spray to soften their shine. It's like turning clear glass into sea glass, muted, elegant, and diffused, ready to catch and scatter soft light. With twine or strong wire, attach the bottles to the branch at different intervals, letting some hang lower than others. Inside each bottle, tuck a battery-operated fairy light. They're lightweight, safe, and give off just the right amount of glow. You can wrap additional fairy lights around the branch itself, letting them spill out like trailing vines. Now hang your glowing sculpture on a garden wall, across a fence, or even from a pergola beam. As the evening deepens, those little lights come alive, shimmering softly through the frosted glass. The effect is quietly breathtaking, like fireflies caught mid-dance. This piece isn't just lighting, it's a feeling, a reminder that even a discarded branch and a few old bottles can become a beacon. In a world that rushes and replaces, you've slowed down and reimagined. You've made light where there was none. And maybe that's what you do in more ways than one, turning overlooked things and moments into places of peace and wonder. Remember that old tire leaning against the back fence? The one that hasn't held air in years. Most folks would call it junk, something to haul off or forget. But with just a little care and color, that weathered rubber ring can become the crown jewel of your garden, sturdy, beautiful, and surprisingly elegant. Let's begin by giving it a good clean. A simple scrub with warm soapy water is enough to remove dust and debris. Once it's dry, the magic begins. Take a soothing earthy tone of chalk paint, sage green works especially well for a soft, natural look, and apply it with slow, even strokes. You can find Hobby Lobby's outdoor safe chalk paints in gentle rustic hues that bring warmth without harsh brightness. As the tire dries, choose a place where you'd like it to live. This planter works wonderfully sitting flat on a patio corner nestled among other pots, or even leaning upright against a fence as part of a vertical display. It's heavy enough to stay put yet low to the ground, a perfect project for those who want garden beauty without the strain of digging or lifting. Line the bottom with landscape fabric or a plastic liner, then fill it part way with lightweight filler like crushed bottles or foam to reduce the amount of soil needed. On top, add potting mix or decorative gravel. Now comes the fun selecting your plants. For a no-fuss option, fill it with realistic artificial succulents from Hobby Lobby. These are perfect for warmer climates or places where tending live plants may be difficult. Choose a mix of textures and shades, soft gray rosettes, tall spiky greens, even a trailing faux vine or two to drape gently over the edge. The result is a planter that looks expensive, feels grounded, and adds lasting color without demanding upkeep. And every time you pass it, you'll know that what others saw as trash, you saw as potential. Just like the tire, we too carry years of wear, yet with a little love and purpose, we still hold beauty. Still support life. Still frame the garden with strength and grace. Think back to that old bicycle, the one you or someone you love once rode through summer streets, its tires humming over gravel spokes gleaming in the sunlight. Maybe it's long past its riding days, rusted or forgotten in the shed. But even a single wheel or just the rim still has something to give. In fact, with a little creativity, it can become a beautiful hanging planter that brings color and charm to any porch or patio. Start with a discarded bicycle rim stripped of its tire and tube. If it's a little rusty, that's all right. A wire brush or light sanding will clean it up just enough while still keeping that rustic lived-in look. Then give it a gentle coat of acrylic paint, white cream, or even a weathered sky blue. Hobby Lobby carries chalky finishes that work perfectly for this kind of shabby chic effect. A little distressing with sandpaper afterward gives it that vintage softness we love. Now take a few strips of colorful fabric, think floral prints, gingham, old dish towels, or even ribbon scraps, and weave them gently through the spokes of the rim. You don't need a pattern, just trust your eye. Let it be playful, like threading stories through time. To turn it into a planter, use the fabric pockets created between the spokes or attach small pouches made from lined burlap or repurposed canvas. Inside each pocket, nestle a small plant trailing annuals like petunias, bright marigolds, or herbs such as thyme or oregano. If you prefer a lower maintenance option, faux florals from Hobby Lobby work just as beautifully, especially in places with strong sun or wind. Hang the finished piece with sturdy twine or chain from a porch beam, a shepherd's hook, or even a garden arbor. As the breeze moves through, it gently spins and your patchwork of color sways and comes alive. It's not just a planter, it's a memory in motion, a bit of art that moves with the day. It reminds us perhaps that nothing is ever truly too old to shine again, not a bicycle rim and not us. There's still movement, still color, still joy left to bloom. There's something deeply comforting about growing herbs close to home. Maybe it's the smell of fresh basil in the morning or the way thyme gently perfumes the breeze when brushed by your hand. But when space is limited or bending low is no longer easy, a vertical garden becomes more than just clever. It becomes a kind and practical way to bring life upward, right into reach. This next idea begins with a simple wooden pallet. One of those overlooked shipping crates you might find leaning behind a hardware store or offered for free in a neighborhood group. Don't worry if it's a little weathered. That just adds character. Give it a quick sanding to smooth any splinters, then paint it in a deep, elegant hue. Charcoal gray, slate blue, or rich forest green using outdoor safe paints from Hobby Lobby. These shades add a modern touch while still embracing the rustic charm of the wood. Now flip the pallet upright so the slats run horizontally like shelves. In each gap you'll nestle small metal buckets or planters. Hobby Lobby has a wonderful selection of tin pails with handles that can be hooked over each slat, no drilling required. Fill them with potting soil and plant herbs like parsley, mint, chives, or rosemary. Choose what you love to cook with or simply what you love to smell. For an extra polished look, add small chalkboard labels or hand-painted signs to each bucket. Use a white paint pen or label tag to write the names of your herbs, a lovely touch that makes the whole piece feel custom and thoughtful. Lean the pallet against a sunny wall, balcony railing, or even inside a patio nook. You'll be surprised how much it holds and how easy it is to reach, snip, and enjoy without ever bending down. This project isn't just about growing plants. It's about growing ease, accessibility, and beauty all at once. And like the herbs it holds, this garden speaks of healing flavor and care. Because sometimes growing upward is a gentle reminder that we're still reaching, still useful, still part of something alive. Picture a summer breeze lifting the edges of a curtain not made of lace or linen, but of flowers swaying gently in full bloom. This next idea brings that vision to life. And it all starts with a weathered wooden pallet and a few old canvas bags that might have otherwise ended up in the trash. Begin by finding a pallet with strong, even slats. If you have an old one that's been sitting for a while, even better, it adds a story to the finished piece. Sand it lightly to remove any splinters, then paint it in a cheerful, uplifting color. A soft turquoise or mint green using Hobby Lobby's outdoor paint adds a bright pop without overwhelming the garden's natural tones. Now gather your fabric-worn canvas totes, faded aprons, even sturdy pillowcases can all be repurposed here. Cut them into rectangular pockets and reinforce the edges by folding them over and sewing or gluing for strength. Attach each one securely to the face of the pallet with heavy-duty staples nails or upholstery tacks. Arrange them in a staggered, tiered fashion like pockets on a gardening apron ready to be filled. Add a layer of small drainage stones in the bottom of each pocket, followed by potting soil. Then tuck in your favorite trailing flowers, petunias, lobelia, sweet alyssum. As they grow, they'll spill over the edges like a cascade of living color. Lean the pallet against a balcony rail, mount it on a sunny fence, or use it to disguise an unsightly wall. As the flowers bloom and sway, your vertical curtain comes to life, transforming even the smallest spaces into a garden haven. This project is especially dear because it invites movement and softness, qualities we sometimes forget are still ours to embrace. There's no need for grand gestures. Just a small corner, some scraps, and a bit of care are enough to create something breathtaking. And perhaps, dear friend, as your flowers flutter in the wind, they'll remind you that grace can be stitched together from the simplest pieces and that your hands still hold the power to make something truly lovely. There's something peaceful about kneeling beside a bed of herbs, running your fingers across the leaves, breathing in their scent. Basil, sage, lavender, each with its own character, its own purpose. And among them, wouldn't it be lovely to see a few quiet signs of care, garden markers that don't shout, but whisper? This was made with love. This idea begins with a handful of flat, smooth stones. You can collect them from your yard, a nearby creek bed, or even pick up a bag from the garden center. Choose ones that fit comfortably in your palm, not too heavy, just enough surface to paint on. Give them a quick wash and let them dry in the sun. Now reach for a bit of shimmer metallic gold or copper acrylic paint from Hobby Lobby, works beautifully here. With a soft brush, paint the surface of each stone, letting the natural texture still peek through. It doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, the slight irregularities make each one feel more precious. Once the base is dry, add delicate botanical illustrations, a sprig of rosemary, a basil leaf, a tiny lavender bloom. If drawing isn't your strength, don't worry. Simple lines are more than enough. Or you can even use small rubber stamps and a paint pad for added ease. Label each stone with the herb's name using a fine-tipped paint pen or a small brush. To protect your work, seal the stones with a clear, outdoor-safe varnish or sealer. This keeps them weatherproof and lets them age gracefully, developing a soft patina over time. Nestle these markers at the base of each plant, letting them blend into the soil like quiet companions. They serve a purpose. Yes, but more than that, they bring a touch of elegance to the earth. They say this garden is not only useful, it's loved. And maybe these little painted stones are more than just signs. Maybe they're reminders that even something as simple as a rock can be transformed into beauty with care. Just like us. Still strong, still meaningful, still capable of holding names, memories, and quiet moments of joy. Do you remember painting with children or grandchildren, dipping brushes into bright colors, laughing when the paint got on your hands? There's a kind of joy in making something just for fun, without worrying about rules or perfection. That same spirit lives in this next idea, turning plain garden rocks into cheerful little creatures that bring whimsy to your flower beds. Begin by gathering rocks of all shapes and sizes. Flat, round ones are perfect for ladybugs. Long, oval shapes work beautifully for buzzing bees or sleepy caterpillars. Wash the stones well and let them dry completely before you begin painting. Now let your imagination play. Use bold acrylic paints from Hobby Lobby, vibrant reds, sunny yellows, soft whites, and jet blacks. A classic ladybug begins with a red body, black head, and dotted wings. Bees get bright yellow stripes and tiny painted wings. Butterflies can be a bit more delicate with swirls of pastel blues, lavenders, or oranges across their wide wingspans. Add little smiles or googly eyes if you like, even tiny flower designs or glitter for a magical touch. There's no wrong way to create these, just follow the shapes of the stones and let each one take on its own personality. Once dry, seal your creatures with a waterproof clear coat to protect them from rain and sun. Scatter your finished rock friends throughout your garden, nestled under hostas, peeking from behind potted plants, or lining the edge of a path. They may surprise your visitors, catch the light just right, or bring a grin to your own face during a morning stroll. This project isn't just decorative, it's deeply nurturing. It reminds us that joy doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. It can come from a simple stone, a splash of color, and the freedom to play again just for the delight of it. And maybe as you paint and place each creature, you'll feel something stir within, a soft laughter from long ago, a childlike wonder that never truly left you. Because it's still there, still alive, and still ready to bloom, one happy rock at a time. Once upon a time, it might have hung over a dining table, casting light on quiet dinners or Sunday gatherings. A chandelier, elegant, perhaps a little dusty, now waiting for its next purpose. And here it is, reborn, not with bulbs, but with bird seed. A gentle invitation for feathered friends to visit, and a new kind of glow brought to your garden. To begin this transformation, find an old metal chandelier, the kind often found at thrift stores, garage sales, or even in your attic. You don't need the wiring or working lights. What matters is its shape, something with arms or loops where small cups can sit. First, give it a good cleaning and then a coat of outdoor spray paint in a timeless tone. Antique bronze, soft cream, or brushed black, whatever fits your garden's character. Let it dry thoroughly before moving on. Now comes the heart of the piece. Instead of light bulbs, place small glass votive holders in each socket or on each arm. You can find lovely options at Hobby Lobby. Secure them with a bit of clear adhesive if needed. Once they're in place, fill each glass with birdseed. You can even tuck in a tiny bloom or two for a romantic touch. Suspend your new bird feeder from a tree branch or pergola using a strong chain or length of twine. Try to hang it somewhere visible from your window or porch so you can watch as finches, wrens, and sparrows stop by for a snack. The chandelier becomes more than just a feeder. It's a story, one of light turned into life, of elegance that doesn't fade, only changes form. And for you, it offers a reason to pause and enjoy the quiet rhythm of nature, the flutter of wings, the soft chirp of gratitude. You didn't just make a feeder, you made a welcome. A gesture of hospitality, not just for birds, but for beauty itself. And in doing so, you've proven once again that there's no such thing as past its prime. Not in chandeliers, not in people, not in gardens. There's a special kind of magic in old teacups. Maybe it's the soft clink they make when placed on a saucer, or the faded floral pattern that reminds you of gentle mornings long ago. Perhaps you have a teacup or two tucked in the back of a cabinet, chipped, mismatched, no longer part of a set. But today, we give them a new story, a story that sings. To begin, gather an old teapot and a few teacups. They don't have to match, in fact, the charm is in the mix. Look for pieces with character, gold-rimmed edges, pastel glazes, delicate cracks that whisper of age. If you don't have them on hand, thrift stores or flea markets are full of treasures just waiting to be rediscovered. Next, take a piece of strong twine or decorative cord from Hobby Lobby and tie it carefully around each cup's handle. You can hang them individually or cluster them from a central ring or branch. The teapot becomes the centerpiece, either hanging slightly higher or placed firmly in the middle of a tabletop display. Fill each teacup with a small scoop of birdseed. You can even add a few dried berries or sunflower seeds to invite a wider variety of visitors. Hang the entire setup from a shepherd's hook porch rafter or sturdy tree limb where it catches the morning sun and allows for easy viewing. When the birds arrive, and they will, you'll witness a gentle scene. A finch perches on the rim of a china cup. A sparrow dips its beak into the teapot's curved lip. It's like a storybook come to life, a quiet tea party for the sky's smallest guests. This bird station isn't just functional. It's nostalgic, poetic, a perfect blend of elegance and purpose. And more than that, it's a way to bring joy to your space using what you already have, or what you can lovingly gather one piece at a time. Like you, these old items still have something to offer. They've held warmth before. Now they hold it again, this time in a garden filled with wings and wonder. Do you remember the shimmer of an old CD spinning in the light, that rainbow flash, that silvery dance? Once prized and played, many now sit forgotten in drawers, their music stilled, their purpose paused. But here in the garden they come alive again, not as sound, but as sparkle. This next idea transforms those old CDs and DVDs into a luminous garden globe, one that catches the sunlight by day and glows like a secret treasure nestled among the flowers. To begin, you'll need a base. An old bowling ball works wonderfully for this, heavy, smooth, and perfectly round. If you don't have one lying around, you can often find them at thrift shops or estate sales. Wipe it clean and set it on a sturdy surface. Now take your collection of old CDs and carefully cut them into small mosaic-like pieces. It helps to soak them in warm water first and use a pair of sharp craft scissors. You'll see the layers of the disc separate, one side glossy, the other dull. Keep the glossy side facing outward for that dazzling mirror-like finish. Using a strong outdoor adhesive or mosaic glue from Hobby Lobby, begin attaching the CD pieces to the ball. Start at the top and work your way down in a loose, natural pattern, like piecing together a puzzle made of starlight. Leave a bit of space between each piece, allowing for grout. Once the surface is covered and the glue is dry, apply a thin layer of colored grout, perhaps a soft gray or pearlescent white, pressing it into the gaps with gloved fingers or a small sponge. Let it dry fully, then buff the CD pieces gently with a cloth to let the shine emerge. Place your finished mosaic globe among your plants on a pedestal or even tucked in a flower bed. As the sunlight moves through the day, it will catch different angles and scatter bits of rainbow across your garden like little whispers of light playing hide and seek. This isn't just decor, it's transformation. From forgotten media to timeless beauty, from the shelves of yesterday to the soil of today. And maybe like this globe, you'll find that even what no longer plays can still shine, still reflect, still hold the light in new, unexpected ways. Have you ever held a styrofoam ball in your hand and thought of the moon's soft round, full of possibility and just waiting to glow? This next project takes something as ordinary as packing material and turns it into a radiant garden orb that looks like it belongs in a fairy tale. Start with a lightweight styrofoam ball, any size you like, though one about the size of a grapefruit works beautifully for tucking into flower beds or placing on low pedestals. You can find these at craft stores like Hobby Lobby, or even reuse one from an old packaging box. Before adding your sparkle, paint the entire ball with outdoor-safe acrylic paint in a base color of your choice: soft sky blue, moss green, or even lavender for a dreamy feel. This helps create depth behind the gems and ensures no white peeks through between them. Now gather small clear glass bottles and flat-backed glass gems, both of which can be found in abundance at Hobby Lobby or in craft bins. Use a hot glue gun or outdoor craft adhesive to attach the gems closely together across the surface of the ball. You can mix in beads, marbles, or tiny mirrored tiles to add variety and reflectivity. For an extra magical touch, nestle tiny battery-operated fairy lights inside one or two of the small bottles before gluing them on. At dusk, they'll softly glow from within, creating the illusion of stars trapped inside your sculpture. Once your globe is complete, you can rest it on a decorative garden dish, a flower pot saucer, or even atop a rusted candlestick or vintage stand. Try placing it in a quiet garden nook, or beneath a fern's soft shadow where it can catch the changing light throughout the day. There's something enchanting about this little orb. It doesn't call attention to itself, it just sits quietly shimmering, offering beauty for those who pause to notice. And maybe, dear friend, that's a reflection of you too. You've taken something overlooked, light as air, often discarded, and turned it into something lovely, lasting, and full of grace. Because even the smallest, lightest things can still shine when given the chance. There's a quiet kind of satisfaction in repurposing something simple, especially when it's wood that's already lived another life. A wooden crate once used to carry apples or hold old tools now becomes something far more tender, a window box, a planter, a home for blooming things. It's rustic, it's elegant, and best of all, it tells a story. To begin, find a discarded wooden crate, the kind you might stumble upon at a thrift shop, flea market, or tucked in the corner of a garage. Look for sturdy slats, a bit of character, and a size that fits beneath a window, along a railing, or beside your front step. Give the crate a gentle sanding to smooth out splinters, then coat it with a rich outdoor wood stain. Hobby Lobby offers beautiful tones from deep walnut to warm cedar that bring out the natural grain and give the wood a timeless glow. Let it dry fully in the sun before moving on. To turn the crate into a planter, line the inside with landscape fabric or a repurposed plastic bag with holes poked in the bottom for drainage. This helps protect the wood and keeps your soil in place. Fill it with a quality potting mix, and then the fun part, begin planting. Choose a mix of cascading greenery and flowering annuals, trailing ivy, soft white alyssum, bright petunias, or even some fragrant lavender if you like. Let the vines spill gently over the edge, and the blooms rise toward the light. You can change the display with the seasons, or keep it simple with evergreens and moss for year-round charm. Once in place, your crate will look like it's always belonged there, as if it grew from the earth itself. It adds warmth to brick texture to siding and life to empty walls or porch railings. And every time you pass it, you'll know this wasn't store-bought. It wasn't part of a trend. It was made by you for your space with care and creativity. Proof that rustic can be refined and that something old can hold something beautifully alive. Just like us, weathered by time but still blooming. There's something lovely about layers and stories in life, and yes, even in the garden. When space is tight or bending is no longer as easy as it once was, stacking becomes a beautiful solution. And with just a few wooden crates and a brush of color, you can create a multi-tiered herb garden that's as elegant as it is practical. Begin by gathering 3 or 4 wooden crates of similar width. They don't need to match exactly, a little variation adds to the rustic charm. If you don't have any on-hand, second-hand stores or curbside giveaways, often offer them for free or just a few dollars. Clean them gently, then select a palette of soft complementary colors. Hobby Lobby's outdoor paints offer beautiful shades like sage green robins, egg blue warm clay, and dusty rose. You can paint each crate a different color or keep them uniform for a cleaner, minimalist look. Add a layer of outdoor sealant once dry to protect the wood through the seasons. Now for the stacking. Place the largest crate at the bottom and the smallest at the top, angling each one slightly back and inward like shallow steps. You can screw them together for stability or weigh them down with bricks hidden inside. This angled display gives every level access to sunlight and makes watering easy. Line each crate with landscape fabric or plastic with drainage holes, and then fill with potting soil. Plant your favorite herbs, basil, thyme, chives, oregano, and parsley. All do well in shallow beds and grow beautifully when placed within reach. Label each tier with handwritten signs or painted wooden spoons, and consider tucking in a few marigolds or nasturtiums for color and pollinator appeal. Place the whole display against a sunny wall beside your porch steps or even in the corner of a balcony. It takes up little space, but it speaks volumes. This stacked garden isn't just functional. It's graceful, purposeful. A reminder that sometimes the best way forward is upward. That even when we can't stretch far, we can still grow close within reach, within sight, within care. Because life like herbs thrives when nurtured in every season and every tear. Have you ever walked a garden path that felt like it was telling a story? Not just a way to get from one place to another, but a journey beneath your feet, step by step, made with love. That's exactly the feeling these mosaic path stones bring. And the best part, they begin with something simple and often forgotten: leftover ceramic tiles. Start by collecting broken or leftover tiles, maybe from an old kitchen project or picked up from the clearance section at Hobby Lobby. Look for a mix of colors that feel peaceful and natural. Soft greens, gentle blues, creamy whites. Don't worry if they're chipped or cracked. That's the charm of mosaic work. Imperfection becomes part of the beauty. You'll also need plain concrete stepping stones, round or square, depending on your preference. These are inexpensive and readily available at garden centers. Begin by sketching a simple design directly onto the surface of each stone, maybe a leaf, a flower, or just gentle curves and waves. Then, using a strong outdoor adhesive, start placing your tile pieces like a jigsaw puzzle. Leave small gaps between them for the grout, and work slowly, one piece at a time. You don't need to cover the entire surface. Sometimes just a corner flourish or a center medallion is all it takes to add elegance. Once all the pieces are set and the glue has dried, spread outdoor grout over the surface with a gloved hand or rubber float. Press it into the gaps, wipe away the excess, and let it cure. Finish by sealing the stone with a clear protective spray so it withstands rain, sun, and foot traffic. Place your finished stones along a garden path beside a bench or leading to a special corner, a bird bath, a rose bush, or a quiet place to sit and think. Each one becomes not just a step, but a moment of pause, a piece of artwork laid into the soil. And maybe every time your foot touches one, it reminds you beauty is not about flawless surfaces. It's about putting the pieces of your life together gently, patiently, and walking forward with grace. Sometimes the most surprising art begins with the tiniest, most ordinary things. Bottle caps, the kind we usually toss without a second thought, can actually become bursts of joyful color beneath your feet. In this project, they're not just reused. They're reborn into vibrant stepping stones that brighten any path and spark conversation in every corner of your garden. Start by collecting plastic bottle caps in all colors and sizes. Soft blues, cheerful reds, sunny yellows, anything goes. Ask friends or neighbors to save theirs or collect your own over time. Wash and dry them thoroughly and set them aside while you prepare your base. You'll need plain concrete stepping stones or cast your own using shallow molds and quick-set concrete. Once you have your stone surface, begin planning your design. You might create a sunburst, a spiral, a simple checkerboard, or an abstract patchwork of color. There's no need for precision, just play with pattern until something feels right. Attach each cap to the stone with a strong outdoor adhesive. Press them firmly so they sit flat and secure. Let the glue cure completely. If you want extra durability, fill the small gaps between caps with outdoor safe grout or a bit of clear silicone sealant. You'll be amazed how cheerful the result is, bold, playful, and totally unique. Lay your bottle cap stones along a garden path, line them near a flower bed, or place them as decorative accents around a tree or seating area. These path stones don't just catch the eye, they lift the spirit. And they serve as a gentle reminder that what we once viewed as waste can become wonder with a little intention. In every garden, there's room for delight. And in every season of life, there's room to reimagine what's possible, to take the leftovers and create something meaningful, fun, and lasting. Because beauty isn't only in what we buy or build, it's in how we see and how we choose to shape joy from what's already right here. Some gardens speak in flowers, others whisper through wind chimes or the quiet rustle of leaves. But then there are those special corners where something bold catches your eye, a piece that stands proudly, full of character and mystery. That's the beauty of a scrap metal sculpture, strong, unexpected, and handcrafted from the cast-offs of work once done. Start by gathering old metal odds and ends. Things like rusted gears, broken wrenches, pipes, bolts, chains, items you or a neighbor may have forgotten in the corner of a shed. If you don't have your own pile, a quick visit to a local scrapyard or flea market can unearth a treasure trove. Choose a theme or shape that speaks to you. Some people create abstract forms, twisting metal into spirals or rising towers. Others find joy in more playful shapes, a dragonfly made from wrench wings, a flower with a saw blade as its bloom, or even a cheerful creature standing tall beside the tomatoes. Lay your pieces out on the ground like a puzzle, experimenting with placement. Once you find a combination you love, begin joining the pieces. You can use industrial strength adhesive if you're not familiar with welding, or work with a local welder who can help bring your design to life safely and securely. To finish, spray the sculpture with a weather-resistant metallic paint, bronze black iron, or even a soft verdigris green. Hobby Lobby offers beautiful metallics that add just the right aged elegance. Let it dry fully before placing it in the garden. Set your sculpture somewhere it can shine, among tall grasses, beside a bench, or peeking from behind a flower bed. Let it surprise, delight, and anchor your space with its silent strength. Because this sculpture made from cast-off parts holds a deeper meaning. It reminds us that there is still form in the forgotten, still story in the scraps. That age and rust are not signs of failure, they're signs of use, of having served a purpose, and now of becoming something even greater. Just like us, made of many pieces welded by time and still standing beautifully. Do you ever sit and listen to the rain, not just hear it, but listen? The soft tapping on the leaves, the rhythm on the rooftop, the gentle trickle down the gutters. Rain brings a kind of peace, doesn't it? And with just a few simple materials, you can turn that quiet weather into a graceful show of sight and sound with your very own handmade garden rain chain. Start with a length of sturdy chain from Hobby Lobby or a hardware store. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something strong enough to hang from the end of your gutter or porch eave. Now gather an assortment of small glass jars, tiny terracotta pots, or even old metal kitchen molds. Try to find items that are lightweight and can handle moisture bonus points if they sparkle or sing. Attach each item to the chain at intervals using floral wire or small S-hooks. Some may hang directly from the links, while others can dangle from cords for added length and movement. Intermingle the vessels with tiny bells, wine chimes, or glass beads, anything that catches the rain or tinkles gently when the breeze passes through. When the rain falls, each drop travels down the chain, pausing in each tiny jar or cup before moving on. The effect is magical, a slow twinkling cascade of water and sound that transforms your downspout into a piece of art. You can enhance the beauty by painting some of the jars or pots with frosted or metallic finishes. A light aqua, a misty gray, or even soft gold adds that luxurious touch without overpowering the natural tones of your garden. And the best part, this rain chain doesn't just look lovely. It softens the downpour, guides the water into a nearby plant bed, and becomes a gentle companion during stormy days. To sit by a window and watch it move, it's a simple pleasure. But one that reminds us life doesn't always need fixing. Sometimes it just needs redirecting. Like rainwater finding a new path, we too can flow with grace, beauty, and quiet resilience. Because even in the rain, you're creating something beautiful. Close your eyes and imagine a quiet corner of your garden. The breeze is soft, the air is cool, and somewhere nearby, water gently ripples in the light. Now imagine that this peaceful pond, this serene little oasis, was once a weathered old tire. Not fancy, not expensive, just transformed with heart and imagination. This water feature begins with a simple car tire. Old, unwanted, and often headed for the landfill, it can be repurposed into something truly tranquil. Start by selecting a level spot in your garden or patio area, somewhere that receives a mix of sun and shade during the day. Set the tire on the ground, and if you prefer, partially bury it so only the top rim is visible. Inside the tire, place a heavy-duty plastic liner or pond liner, carefully pressing it down into all the curves and contours. Secure the edges with stones or bricks, and trim away any extra material for a neat, tucked-in look. Now fill your new mini pond with water. Around the rim, arrange smooth river stones, pebbles, or even small pieces of driftwood for a natural finished edge. You can add a solar-powered water pump. These are affordable and easy to install to create gentle circulation and the soft sound of moving water. To complete the look, float a few water lilies or other pond plants across the surface. If you'd like, add a figurine, a meditating frog, a cherub, or a little turtle tucked between the rocks. It becomes more than decor, it becomes presence. This project is ideal for those seeking calm without complication. No digging, no heavy lifting. And yet the result feels like a gift to yourself, a personal sanctuary where you can sit, breathe, and be still. It reminds us that peace doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to be expensive. Sometimes it's found in a circle of water cradled by what others might throw away. You've taken something worn and given it new purpose, a quiet place in the garden where time slows and beauty lingers. And in doing so, you've created more than a pond. You've created peace. Do you remember those shiny CDs we used to treasure music photos, memories, each one holding something precious? These days, many of them sit unused in drawers, gathering dust. But here's a way to bring them back to life, not through sound, but through light. This project transforms old CDs and DVDs into a hanging sun catcher that dances in the breeze and scatters light like a prism across your garden. It's simple, striking, and endlessly joyful, like a wind chime made of rainbows. Start by collecting CDs that are no longer in use. You'll also need some clear fishing line or strong transparent thread and a few decorative beads or glass baubles from Hobby Lobby for extra sparkle. If you like, gather a small metal ring embroidery hoop or even a branch as the base for your spinner. Carefully poke a small hole near the edge of each CD. You can use a heated needle or drill on low speed. Take your time and wear protective gloves. Once each CD is prepped, begin threading them onto your fishing line, spacing them with beads in between to catch the sunlight and keep the lines from tangling. Create multiple strings, each with 2 or 3 CDs, and tie them securely to your base. If you're using a branch, the result will look organic and whimsical. If you're using a hoop, it becomes a more structured mobile. Either way, it will spin and glimmer beautifully in the light. Hang your finished piece from a tree limb, pergola, or porch beam anywhere that gets a few hours of sunlight a day. As the wind turns it, the reflective surfaces catch the sun and scatter it in every direction, tiny flashes of color dancing over leaves, stones, and walls. Children will stop to stare, birds will flutter nearby, and you'll smile not just at the light but at the idea that something once obsolete is now a source of beauty and wonder. Because like these CDs, we carry reflections of our past. And even when we think our playing days are over, there's still light within us, still color to cast, still beauty to share even in the breeze. There's a particular joy that comes from watching something move with the wind, not rushed or forced, just dancing softly to the rhythm of the breeze. This next project captures that spirit, using one of the most overlooked household items, an empty aluminum can. It's the kind of transformation that makes you pause and smile, realizing just how much beauty can come from the everyday. Start by collecting a few empty aluminum cans from soda, sparkling water, or juice. Rinse them well, then remove any remaining labels. Once dry, it's time to shape your spinner. With a marker, draw evenly spaced vertical lines from top to bottom, leaving about an inch uncut on both ends. Using a pair of craft scissors or shears, carefully snip along those lines to create long, narrow strips like petals or ribbons. Now comes the magic. Gently twist each strip, slightly alternating direction as you go. As the can spins, these curved blades will catch the wind and reflect the light in every direction. You can flatten the top and bottom just a bit to help it keep its shape, or add a bead or washer for weight. For color and charm, spray paint the entire can in a metallic or jewel-toned finish. Think copper teal or brushed silver. Hobby Lobby's metallic spray paints offer a wide range of hues that dry quickly and hold up well outdoors. Let each piece dry completely before moving on. To hang your spinner, punch a small hole in the top of the can and thread through clear fishing line twine or a small hook. Then suspend it from a porch beam, shepherd's hook, or even a tree branch where it will catch the light and breeze. As it twirls, the motion is soft and mesmerizing, a quiet reminder that movement doesn't always mean rushing. Sometimes it simply means responding to what the day brings. This spinner isn't loud or grand. It's humble, handmade, and full of soul. Just like so many parts of your garden and your life. It turns not to escape, but to reflect, to shimmer in its own gentle way. Because even a can once emptied still has something lovely left to offer. Sometimes the most unexpected objects become the most elegant. Take, for example, an old satellite dish once perched high on rooftops, pulling in distant signals. When its job is done, it often ends up forgotten. But with a little imagination, it can become a serene and welcoming bird bath, a quiet place for feathered visitors to sip and splash. To begin, gently remove the dish from its mount. You don't need the electronics, just the curved bowl and its base. Clean it thoroughly, then inspect for sharp edges. A light sanding around the rim helps ensure safety for both hands and birds. Now it's time to bring it to life. Choose a palette that matches your garden's mood: soft aqua for a calming tone, dusty rose for a cottage feel, or classic white for timeless simplicity. Outdoor safe paints from Hobby Lobby make this step easy. You can spray or brush on your chosen color and even add patterns or stencils if you'd like to make it a true piece of art. Once painted and dry, consider embellishing the inside of the dish with small mosaic tiles, ceramic pieces, or flat glass gems. These add texture, color, and a gentle sparkle when the sun hits the water. Use strong adhesive made for outdoor use to secure them. To install your new bird bath, mount the dish on a sturdy base. You can reuse the original satellite arm if it's in good shape, or repurpose a short wooden post, a plant stand, or even a stack of decorative bricks. Just make sure it's stable and level so the water sits evenly in the dish. Fill with fresh water and place it somewhere visible near a flower bed beside a porch or in the dappled shade of a tree. Before long, you'll see birds dipping and flapping happily and enjoying this gentle gift you've made. And when you watch them, you might smile and realize what once gathered signals from the sky now invites life from it. The dish hasn't been discarded. It's been transformed, just like so many things in our gardens and in ourselves. Even after one season ends, there's always another where beauty can return. Have you ever opened a closet and found an old over-the-door shoe organizer, one of those canvas kinds with little pockets for sneakers and slippers? Maybe it's faded, maybe missing a snap. But in the garden, it's not a leftover. It's the beginning of a beautiful blooming wall of green. This project is perfect for anyone who wants to garden without bending, digging, or taking up precious space. Start with a fabric shoe organizer, the kind with deep, soft pockets. If it's been gently used, give it a wash. If you're buying new, you can often find them affordably at thrift stores or discount bins. Lay the organizer flat, and using a small blade or scissors, poke a few drainage holes in the bottom of each pocket. This will allow excess water to escape and prevent root rot. Then line each pocket with a bit of landscape fabric or a coffee filter to keep soil in place. Now fill each pocket about 3/4 full with lightweight potting mix. Choose a variety of plants that do well in shallow soil: herbs like thyme, parsley, and chives, or bright annuals such as pansies, begonias, and lobelia. You can even alternate rows for color and texture: leafy green, soft bloom, leafy green again. If you'd like to make it even more special, decorate the canvas with fabric-safe paints or iron-on patches from Hobby Lobby. Try stenciling the names of your herbs onto each pocket or painting simple floral motifs along the edges. To hang it, use sturdy hooks or nails to attach it securely to a fence wall or balcony railing. Make sure it's somewhere that gets enough sunlight for your chosen plants. Water carefully from the top so it trickles down. A slow, gentle soak once or twice a week is often all it needs. Before long, that plain organizer becomes a vertical patchwork of green and bloom, like a garden quilt rising up from the ground. And maybe as you water your little wall of life, you'll realize this project is more than clever. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary things, even the forgotten fabric tucked away in closets, still have life left in them, still have beauty to give, just like you do. Sometimes, in the quiet corners of a garden, it's the vertical elements that draw our eyes upward, like reaching toward the sky, one plate bowl and bead at a time. This garden totem pole, made from mismatched dishware and shimmering glass beads, is both playful and refined. It's a gentle celebration of color balance and second chances. To begin, gather an assortment of old dishware ceramic bowls, small plates, cups, and saucers in different colors and patterns. Don't worry about matching. The more variety, the more character. Add in a few chunky glass beads or marbles from Hobby Lobby for extra sparkle and height between layers. You'll also need a sturdy piece of rebar or a metal rod, about 3 to 4 feet tall, works well. This will serve as the spine of your sculpture, anchoring it securely in the soil. Hammer it firmly into the ground in your chosen spot, somewhere visible but tucked enough to feel like a discovered treasure. Now, starting from the bottom, begin stacking your dishware and beads onto the rod. Invert some pieces, nest others, and alternate bowls and plates to create visual rhythm. Use strong waterproof adhesive between the layers if you'd like a more permanent installation, or leave them loosely stacked if you prefer to rearrange them seasonally. Each piece reflects light, tells a story, and adds a note of whimsy. Perhaps that floral saucer once sat beneath your morning cup of tea. Maybe the green glazed bowl belonged to someone you loved. Now they live again, not in a drawer, but under the sky. Once complete, your totem will stand like a gentle sentinel in your garden. Rain will beat on its surface, birds may perch nearby, and the afternoon light will skip across the glaze and glass. It's a sculpture, yes, but more than that, it's a reminder. That beauty isn't about matching sets or perfect condition. It's about assembling the pieces of your life into something uniquely yours. Standing tall, balanced, a little worn, and still reaching upward. Just like you, full of stories, color, and grace in every layer. You've likely seen them before, colorful bottle caps scattered after a gathering, tossed aside without a thought. But what if I told you those tiny throwaway pieces could become something grand? A mural. A blooming garden on a wall. A celebration of color and patience, crafted one cap at a time. This project begins with a simple piece of reclaimed wood, maybe an old cabinet door, a wooden pallet board, or even a wide plank from the garage. Clean it well, and if you'd like, give it a soft background wash of white or pastel paint to make the colors pop. Next comes the fun: collecting caps. Plastic or metal, any color, any size. You can gather them from soda bottles, water jugs, juice cartons, and ask friends or neighbors to save theirs too. Aim for a broad palette: sunflower yellows, tomato reds, ocean blues, grassy greens. The more variety, the more beautiful your mural will become. Once you have your caps sorted, sketch a simple floral design onto the board. Perhaps a blooming daisy, a field of tulips, or even an abstract garden. You don't need to be an artist. Just outline the basic shapes. Then, using a strong outdoor adhesive, begin gluing the caps in place. Petal by petal, leaf by leaf, color by color. You can add layers for depth, overlap pieces for texture, and include flat marbles or glass gems between caps for a bit of extra sparkle. Once the mural is complete and dry, seal it with a clear waterproof spray for durability. Mount it on a garden fence, a shed wall, or even hang it from hooks along your porch railing. When the sun hits it just right, it shines like a stained glass window. Bright, joyful, alive. But the real beauty, it's in the effort. The hours spent collecting, arranging, creating. The patience in placing each piece. The pride in knowing you built something lasting from what others tossed away. And perhaps that's the quiet lesson of this mural. That nothing is too small to be part of something beautiful. That even the tiny, the discarded, the overlooked, when gathered with care, can bloom into something grand. Just like all the little moments that have made your life extraordinary. There's a certain charm in old furniture, the kind with creaky drawers and faded handles. Maybe it once lived in your bedroom or held linens in your mother's house. Over time, it may have grown too worn for its original purpose, but don't be too quick to say goodbye. That old dresser is ready for a new chapter, one full of blossoms, color, and quiet delight. To begin, find an old wooden dresser, even one with missing drawers or a few dings. The imperfections are part of the beauty. Give it a gentle wipe down, then choose your colors. Hobby Lobby's outdoor chalk paints offer a palette of soft, welcoming hues. Sage green, lavender, dusty blue, or warm buttercream all work wonderfully in the garden. Paint the dresser in layers, letting each coat dry before lightly distressing the edges with sandpaper for that time-worn, vintage look. You can even add floral stencils or hand-painted accents to the drawer fronts if you feel inspired. Now for the transformation, remove the drawers and reinsert them at different angles. Some pulled halfway, others tilted slightly forward. Line each one with plastic sheeting or landscape fabric, then fill them with potting soil. Choose cascading plants like petunias, sweet potato vines, or trailing lobelia for the upper drawers, and tuck in fuller blooms like marigolds, geraniums, or coleus for the lower ones. As the flowers grow, the entire piece becomes a living sculpture, tiered, colorful, and utterly unique. Place it against a garden fence, along a patio wall, or beneath a shaded tree where it can shine without too much direct sunlight. You'll be amazed how quickly it becomes a conversation piece, neighbors pausing to admire, grandchildren pointing with wonder, and you smiling quietly every time you pass it. And perhaps as the drawers overflow with life, you'll reflect on your own journey, on how you too have opened drawer after drawer of years of experiences of joys and challenges, and still have so much beauty left to give. Because this isn't just a planter, it's a portrait of reinvention, a reminder that we don't have to be perfect or new to be filled with purpose. We just have to remain open and let something lovely grow. Imagine sitting in your garden, tea in hand, a book resting on your lap, the birds singing gently in the trees, and beneath you, a bench you built yourself. Not from expensive lumber or fancy blueprints, but from a few humble pallets and a bit of care. This is comfort made by your own hands, sturdy, charming, and full of heart. Start by gathering 3 or 4 wooden pallets in good condition. These are often free if you ask at local hardware stores or garden centers. Choose ones with solid boards and minimal damage. Give them a quick sanding to smooth out splinters and rough edges. Lay 2 pallets flat, one stacked atop the other to form the bench seat. You can secure them with long screws or brackets to keep them from shifting. For the backrest, stand a 3rd pallet upright behind the seat, aligning it so the slats run horizontally. Attach it with heavy-duty L brackets or screw it directly into the base. Once your bench is assembled, give it a coat of outdoor paint or stain, perhaps a soft cedar tone or a whitewash finish for a weathered coastal feel. Hobby Lobby's outdoor wood stains and finishes come in soothing shades that blend beautifully into any garden setting. Now it's time to soften it up. Add thick outdoor cushions made from weather-resistant fabric, or sew your own using Hobby Lobby's outdoor textiles. Choose florals, stripes, or calming neutrals and top it off with a few throw pillows for extra charm. Place your bench in a peaceful corner under a tree beside a raised bed or against a sunny wall. Tuck a side table beside it, or place a few potted plants around the legs. Suddenly, the whole space invites you to slow down, sit a while, and breathe. And when you do sit, you'll feel it, not just the support beneath you, but the quiet pride of having created something with purpose. Something that turned discarded wood into a resting place. Something strong, reliable, and beautiful. Much like you. Because every garden deserves a bench made from love, and every heart deserves a place to rest. In the far corner of many backyards, there sits a stack of old tires, relics of road trips, errands, and seasons past. Most would overlook them, maybe even send them to the dump. But not you. You see something different, something strong, something full of potential. And with a bit of vision, those rubber rings can become the base for a beautiful garden bench, sturdy, stylish, and surprisingly elegant. Start by selecting 3 matching tires. Clean them thoroughly with soap and water, removing any dirt or grime. Once dry, give them a fresh coat of outdoor paint using spray or brush-on finishes from Hobby Lobby. Deep charcoal, creamy taupe, or soft moss green all lend a rustic yet refined look. Let them dry fully before stacking. Next, arrange the tires in a row, stacking them in sets of 1 or 2 to form stable bench legs. You can secure them together using construction adhesive or heavy-duty zip ties if desired, but often their own weight is enough to hold them in place. Now for the seat, choose a thick, solid plank of reclaimed wood long enough to span the tires. Sand it smooth and stain it in a rich tone that complements the painted tires. Attach it securely to the tires with screws and brackets, or simply rest it on top for easy repositioning. For added comfort, you might add a custom bench cushion using outdoor fabric and foam. Place your finished bench near a fire pit beside a garden path, or tucked into a quiet corner beneath your favorite tree. It brings warmth and utility to your space while using materials that might otherwise have gone to waste. But more than that, this bench tells a story of transformation, of care, of making something enduring and useful from what was once seen as worn out. And isn't that what we do as we grow older? We take what we've carried, the mileage, the moments, and we shape them into something strong, something that can still hold, still support, still offer rest. This bench is proof that beauty doesn't always come from what's new. Sometimes it rises up from what we already have, waiting patiently for our hands to see it. And there we have it, dear friend, 30 soul-filled ideas, each one proof that the garden doesn't need grandeur to be grand. It only needs heart. And perhaps that's what makes it so special. Because everything you've seen today began not with brand new things, but with forgotten ones. Worn-out tires, old dressers, discarded dishes, a scattering of bottle caps. You didn't need to lift anything heavy or spend a fortune. All you needed was your gentle attention, the kind of care that sees potential in the overlooked. And maybe that's the quiet magic of aging too. We've learned how to look closer, to repurpose, reimagine, renew. We've seen that life has chapters and that beauty doesn't belong to youth alone. Out in the garden, there's a peace that isn't rushed, a comfort in knowing that things can be worn and still worthy, scratched and still stunning. That even in our own lives, with all the nicks and weathering we've gathered, there's still joy in the crafting, still purpose in these hands. Maybe as you work on your next DIY project, painting a planter, stacking old crates, or watching a sunbeam shimmer through a bottle tree, you'll remember your hands still create beauty. You've always had that gift, the gift of turning nothing special into something extraordinary. So, which idea spoke to your heart today? Was it the teacup bird feeder that reminded you of old Sunday mornings, or the herb-filled shoe organizer that made you smile with its cleverness? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories and see what you create. And if this peaceful little visit brought you joy, I invite you to subscribe for more gentle inspiration. There's plenty more to come, more ways to upcycle, decorate, and delight, all made with kindness, thrift, and care. Thank you for spending this time with me, for believing that even a scrap of wood or a forgotten bowl can still bloom into something meaningful. And so can we. Until next time, happy gardening, dear friend.